Compass Mining is your trusted partner in Bitcoin mining. Whether you're investing in one machine or thousands, our customizable solutions are tailored to meet your needs. We are your experts in Bitcoin mining, offering a platform where individuals and businesses can purchase hardware, host machines, and access a range of ancillary Bitcoin mining services. We also specialize in large-scale site development and data center operations. Discover more at compassmining.io and see how we can power your success today. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. McNallie Money, the official home of power mining analysis. A big day in the markets, at least for Bitcoin and the miners, with Bitcoin surpassing $97,000 US. The miners are off to the races. In addition to that, we have news out from Riot, Digital, DMG, and of course, monthly production report on the first of the month from Bitfarms. A lot to go through. Before we get into it, take a second, smash the like button, guys. Big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join and let us know in the comment section below how you're feeling about Bitcoin right now, what you're doing in terms of the miners, buying, selling, or holding, and your top pick in the sector currently. With that being said, let's get into today's video. All right, Anthony, Thursday afternoon, the first day of May, and what a way to kick off the month. Bitcoin has now rallied in excess of $97,000 US, in the neighborhood of 97,300 and change right now. And boy, have the miners followed suit. All of the miners across the board in the green today. TeraWulf leading the pack, actually up 17%, but a very strong showing for the sector, and exactly why people like us take interest in the Bitcoin mining stocks specifically.
Yeah, good results today for Bitcoin, up 3.3%. We were talking about on the last podcast that, this band between 93 and 95, we could see Bitcoin moving to the upside. It's gone to 97 today, probably now going to break through 100,000 the next day or so, and maybe even trying to get close to that all-time high of 109,000. So yeah, good move by Bitcoin today. Good moves by some of the other larger crypto coins like Ethereum and Sol. And then the mining stocks, having a good day as well. You just mentioned TeraWulf up 17%, CIFR and Hut both up double digits. Riot, CleanSpark close to that with 9%. All the way down, you've got the miner at the bottom there, DMG with 4% increase at the moment. What's noticeable though is some of the volumes are quite high with regards to some of these trading stocks. And bear in mind, market's been open probably about 3 hours at the moment, but already TeraWulf's volume is 30 million. It's 38 as its average volume on a daily basis over the last 3 months. You've got the likes of Riot already pretty much at its average volume. Marathon Digital's ahead of its average volume already, and this is just in 3 hours of trading. So a lot of volume out there. Looking at the day range for all the mining stocks at the moment, we've been using the podcast probably a couple of hours after opening time, because before we were seeing so much change in that early first hour and a half. As you can see now, the range for all these mining stocks is pretty much close to their day high. And looking at the day chart on the table there as well, for most of those miners, they're at a high at the moment. So, really good day for the mining stocks. Great day for Bitcoin. Let's just hope we see this continue and try and achieve another all-time high in the near future.
Yeah, very interesting. You bring up the volumes there, Anthony. You're right. Some trading in excess of their average daily volume already, just a few hours in. Some of them just scratching the surface in terms of volume. So interesting to see the differences there. Some of the larger companies, Riot, Marathon, potentially positioning by institutions or larger investors. The other thing that caught my attention, Anthony, if we look at the move in Bitcoin, and not to mention the Bitcoin miners in comparison to some of the other indices, so the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, even the NASDAQ, which is having a strong session, up 1.9%, paling in comparison to the 3% plus we've seen in Bitcoin and the 10, 15, 17% we've seen with some of these miners. So another great example of that decoupling we talked about last week on the podcast, and Bitcoin continuing to show strength really in light of whatever the rest of the economy is doing on that given day. Now, in terms of the miners themselves, we talked about percentage return or performance for the day. There's been a lot of news out for this session as well. The first one we wanted to talk about, Bitfarms again out of the gate on the first of the month, directly following month end. We're looking at April production results here, but they gave some great commentary as well on the Panther Creek site and the strategy.
Yeah, a good month for Bitfarms in terms of mining. They've maintained that total energized hash rate 19.5, but they've managed to increase the operational hash rate by a further 5%. So having a slightly better month, less curtailment. 17.2 is their average hash rate for the whole month. And with that average hash rate, they achieved 268 Bitcoin. Now, that's slightly down on March, but what you've got to consider is that April has 30 days, March has 31 days. So that 4% difference probably accounts for the majority of that difference there. And if you look down at the Bitcoin mine per day, it's around about 9 Bitcoin. So add 9 onto 268 and you're not too far away from 280. In terms of operational power, still got the 461 megawatts for Bitcoin mining. Their fleet efficiency, we already know it's one of the highest or one of the best efficiencies of all the mining stock at 19. So that means they'll be getting reasonably good margins in terms of their Bitcoin mining at the moment. For the second month, they've sold more than 400 Bitcoin. So they've sold 400 in March. They've sold 403 in April. That's around about 150% of the production. So selling all the production and a further 50% of the HODL, taking their HODL down to 1,005, which is a 12% reduction on the HODL that they had at the end of March. Now, interestingly, with the Bitcoin price finishing at sort of 94,000 for the month of April, the value of that HODL has actually increased to 94.6 million as opposed to 94.1 million at the end of March. And that's because the Bitcoin price has risen, during the month of April than it finished at the end of March there. And that reduction in Bitcoin, has still give them a strong valuation of their HODL. But and overall a good update. It'll be interesting to see. Bitfarms are the first miner to release their results every month since I've been doing this over the last 4 to 5 years. We'll wait to see the rest of the updates coming out. Some will come out tomorrow, and I think the majority will probably come out early next week. And once we've got a few more, we can do some sort of comparisons then as to how Bitfarms have done. But they're usually in the top. I mean, for the last 4 years, they've been in the top 2, but this year, they're in that sort of top 6. A lot of miners producing really good updates month by month this year, so it's going to be interesting. I can't pick who's going to finish top of this year. I was able to do it, pretty much in all the other 4 years, but this year is a different beast in terms of operational updates. A lot more miners are showing now their true operational hash rate, and in theory, if you're saying your hash rate's this, you should all be mining the same amount of Bitcoin based on hash rate anyway. So that's what we're seeing in the charts. Let's see what those bring out over the next week or so.
Yeah, we definitely will as the production results continue to pour in. Now, the other thing I wanted to just touch on, Anthony, Panther Creek, this is obviously part of the Stronghold acquisition or package of projects that Ben and team purchased from Stronghold. We heard a lot of analysts talking very favorably, not only about Panther Creek, but about all 3 of the assets within that portfolio. I know they gave some commentary talking about HPC AI as well, but this is definitely a focal point of Ben and Bitfarms in 2025 as well.
Yeah, this looks like Bitfarms are now going to focus now 2025, 2026 on looking at the HPC strategy. They've got to effectively where they said they get to in Bitcoin mining. So they've, slightly reduced their forward thinking on Bitcoin mining. They've got to close to 20. They've got a little bit more of operational hash rate to increase to utilize all that hash rate. And we might see that start to occur in the next month or so. But the fully focused now, and bear in mind, they've got that line of credit with Macquarie, the 300 million. That will give them some way of getting these sites prepared. Now, they've had studies at Panther Creek, and what we're hearing is it looks like it's quite favourable in terms of providing HPC data center projects there on a very good scale as well. And we even heard from one of the analysts back in Miami recently at the Mining Disrupt conference, who said that that site, compared to some of the other sites in the US, is one of the strongest sites for HPC. So we'll keep a watchful eye on Bitfarms as they provide more updates. We'll hopefully get Ben on the podcast this month when earnings come out, and be able to ask him a few more questions on how he sees 2025 and 2026 unfold in terms of HPC.
Yeah, good update there from Ben and team. Now, the next one, a quick one, housekeeping here. Bitdeer, we mentioned yesterday we're starting to see Q1 earnings calls being scheduled. They came out with pre-market May 15th. We're going to try and have Jeff on the channel shortly following that, either the Friday or potentially release on the Monday, Anthony. So get your questions in, you guys, not only for Bitdeer Technologies Group, but really any of the miners as we're going into earnings season. And it's a good opportunity to get some dialogue with the CEOs. Now, speaking of dialogue, Anthony, you're in the Far East right now, Bitdeer's neck of the woods. So I'll pass it over to you for the next part here.
Yeah, so I'm currently in Hong Kong and due to go to Singapore next week. I've already reached out to Bitdeer. I've got some meetings on the 7th, and I know they're currently looking at trying to get me a tour of the facility over there, which would be really good. We can report back on that there. And we know that Bitdeer have got this 2 megawatt HPC projects out there that they spoke about, and we'll talk more about HPC with another update in a minute. But it's good that we're seeing these miners start to look at these from a smaller perspective, learn how to deliver this type of strategy and the technology, and then once they've proven that, they can move on to bigger things. So I'm hoping to get that all lined up for next week, and I'll keep your guys updated when it happens.
Yeah, great update there, Anthony. And speaking of HPC AI, this is a big focal point of Power Mining Analysis right now as well. We're currently working with the miners to update the website, get some more metrics and visibility for you guys in terms of HPC AI revenue, margins, capacity, utilization, projected run rates. We've got a number of metrics that are in the funnel, but if there's anything specific you guys are looking for, please let us know in the comment section below. Keep in mind the challenge with HPC AI, unlike Bitcoin mining, obviously don't get the same level of monthly transparency, and this is generally a new space with many of the companies still pre-revenue, but this is a focal point of the platform, Anthony. I don't know if you have any additional comments there, but definitely something we're pushing in 2025 from Power Mining Analysis standpoint as well. Compass Mining makes Bitcoin mining accessible to everyone. Start mining in as little as 48 hours with our turnkey hardware, online and mining directly to your Bitcoin wallet within 2 business days. Find out more at compassmining.io and get started now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've seen DMG start to talk more and more in their recent updates about this move into HPC, like literally every other miner. There's only at the moment, I think, CleanSpark who really said no to this strategy at all. They're going to stay pure Bitcoin mining, but all the other miners have shown an interest, and some have gone a little bit further, and DMG certainly have gone a bit further in terms of setting up MOUs and now starting to deliver on that MOU in terms of the update today with this 2 megawatts of prefabricated data center. And we'll keep you updated as to how this goes out. But this is really a sort of like, for them, it looks like it's more of a test and see, make sure they can deliver on this in the same way we just talked about Bitdeer. To be honest, Bitdeer are doing it in Singapore. DMG are going to do this either their Christina Lake data center or the Malahat Nation lands. Or maybe even use some storage for the coming months. But this will be to get them all the lessons learned delivering this type of service. It is different from Bitcoin mining. I don't think anyone can think you can just switch off Bitcoin mining and just move into HPC. That's not going to happen overnight. And you need to be proving that you can deliver this, because clients will want to have the best facilities, the best service. And there will be competition out there for delivering this type of service. There won't be just the miners out there. There'll be other people coming into the space looking at HPC and trying to deliver it. So DMG seems to have got a head start on some of the competition there, and we'll focus on more of this as they bring out more updates.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to comment there, Anthony, keep in mind in Canada here, we don't have the same level of hyperscaler saturation as the United States. So the 2 megawatts, the way I read this is it could be up to 10 megawatts. They've essentially got 2 megawatts to trial and see if they can fill up that capacity. And again, unlike Bitcoin mining here, you guys, there's a client or sales component of this business as opposed to just selling your Bitcoin into the blockchain network. You've actually got to go out and acquire, find, keep these customers happy, customer relationship management. So there is a little bit more to it. Obviously, DMG making a great stride in the right direction. The other thing, Anthony, they gave a quick operational update. This is not their April operational update, but it does shed some light onto the installation of new machines and a potential concern around the T21s, which is similar to what we heard from Ben Gagnon in their Paraguay facility. Originally very excited about the T21s, but starting to see some concerns with that model.
Yeah, no, so they've not brought out their official update yet, but they've just mentioned that they've achieved the 2 exahash, which they were talking about in the previous update, very close to getting to it. And they further expect to energize and further 2 megawatts, which will give them a total of 2.1 exahash. But at the same time, they're now saying that some of their T21s, you're quite right, haven't been operating and are a bit more sensitive to the heat. And so what DMG can do there is they can actually look to maybe downclock a portion of the fleet, and that then gives them a lower operational hash rate, which will be obviously below the 2.1 exahash they're hoping to achieve soon. Let's hope they can come up with a solution for the T21s. We know that Bitfarms effectively had to then reorder S21s to replace the T21s. And because of that, it meant all their timeframes for achieving hash rate went out the window and caused the company, a bit of angst, especially with shareholders who want to see things grow quickly and as expected. So you give a time frame out to a shareholder, they're watching the clock on those time frames with both eyes. It's good that DMG have given this update now. We'll get their monthly update for April, in the next few days. They're usually one of the early ones to bring it out. So maybe either tomorrow or on Monday, we should get their update, and we'll cover a bit more in detail about how they performed during the month of April, see how they were affected at all with this problem with the T21s.
Yeah, we sure will. Now, speaking of angst, Anthony, a bit of a thorn in the side of Riot Platforms coming to an end. Now we've got a resolution or a settlement agreement in the case of Rhodium and Riot Platforms. So this is a great conclusion, I guess, to the story here and allows Riot to move forward, really focus on growth and execution in 2025.
Yeah, so when Riot purchased the Whinstone facility at Rockdale, they took on some customers that were already hosted there, and Rhodium was one of those hosted. They were a big hosted miner, about 3 exahash of machines. They're a non-public miner, so one of the largest non-public miners with that sort of hash rate. And these miners that were already in place at the facility had very favorable energy terms. Bear in mind, they probably signed these contracts when the energy prices were a lot lower, and they sort of got some sort of fixed energy deals. Now, when Riot took over, the energy price, as we know, spiked in the previous years, and it becomes a problem then if you're the company having to fulfill these obligations. It's a real challenge, and that caused some litigation between Riot and its hosted clients. And this has gone on now for a few years. But what we've seen now is we've seen this come to sort of effectively an end because Riot and Rhodium have agreed to part ways. So the transaction consideration is 185 million, of which Riot are going to pay close to 130 million in cash, and the remaining balance will be just under 7 million shares at the issued price of $7.01 per share, and that price was the weighted average price at the close on April the 25th. So this looks like Riot can close that part of the book on Rhodium and now start to look at how they can utilize that extra 125 megawatts. Now, I believe also they got the mining machines that were at the facility as well. So Rhodium have walked away with the cash and the shares. Riot have got the power back that they can now utilize as they wish, and they also got the mining machines. Now, we don't know what the efficiency or the types of machines they've got, so we'd be guessing if we started to try and explain what they got there. But we'll certainly speak to Jason, maybe give him more of a fuller update on this when we speak to him next week on the podcast.
Sounds good. Yeah, we've got Jason early next week talking about Q1 earnings and obviously some updates on things like Rhodium here. The next one, Anthony, this one receiving a lot of attention on X, a little bit of a controversial topic right now, ATM usage. So Bit Digital coming out with a preliminary prospectus, $500 million worth. Essentially the precursor for an ATM or some type of dilution event. However, we've talked to Sam. They obviously have big aspirations in the HPC AI sector, and you need to pay for that some way. So, wanted to get your take on this one.
Yeah, this is a obviously a bold move. It's a big number. I mean, we've seen some of the other miners come out with ATMs this level of size, but their market capitalizations are, significantly higher in the billions. If we look at the market capitalization, say, of Bit Digital, it's around about $380 million. Now, this ATM is for $500 million. It doesn't say that they're going to, use $500 million over the next day or so. There'll be a period, usually a number of years where they get to use it. And they've turned around and said they can use it through ordinary shares, through preference shares, through warrants, a number of ways they can utilize this. But what you've got to remember is Bit Digital have been growing their HPC business. They're already over 100 million a year of annualized revenue in that particular business model, far exceeding now, probably doubling the amount of mining revenue that they've achieved. And bear in mind, in every year up until now, mining revenue exceeded high performance computing revenue. That's now changed in 2025. We'll see more of that when they come out with their earnings. But for companies like Bit Digital, there are less levers to pull, and they have got with their last update that we saw back in January, they do have a Bitcoin hodl and an Ethereum hodl, and they did have a significant amount of cash in treasury. But when you're looking at high performance computing, they've bought some facilities. They're looking to obviously buy the GPUs to fit in some of those facilities. This is a significant amount of funds, and they're just preparing themselves. I mean, they brought out a lot of good updates this year in terms of growing that HPC, growing the number of clients. Go back 12 months ago, they had one client. Now they're getting close to 20 plus clients now. So, by growing that, Sam knows that they've got a great business model, obviously realizes that doesn't come without having the capital to resource it. And we'll get a fuller picture from Sam when he comes on the podcast, when earnings are released, and he'll give us a fuller update as how he expects to, and probably when he expects to use that money to tie in with the growth that he sees at the moment in HPC for Bit Digital.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Now, speaking of shares and share price, the next one from HODL 15 Capital showing CEP. So this is Cantor Equity Partners. This is soon to be 21 or XX1, play on the Roman numeral there. This is the new Jack Dorsey company set up as a Bitcoin focused company, really in competition or to rival Strategy. You can see up over 300% since this news was announced, Anthony. So really similar to what we're seeing in terms of Bitcoin price, ETF inflows, just another demonstration of the demand and the amount of money and capital that's looking to have exposure to Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We talked about this when it was announced. It's obviously that's a significant amount there, but that the people that are involved, the groups that are involved in that particular business model there, are very much names in the space, and so the expectation is that they're obviously onto something there that will deliver returns for shareholders. So those that got in really early are looking at substantial gains already. I personally haven't gone into it. I don't know if you have, Bryce, but we'll wait out and see how this one works out in the end.
Unfortunately, I have not got into CEP. The big difference there, they've committed to showing proof of reserves or actually publishing their blockchain wallet ID. So that's a big difference from strategy. I know there's a lot of pressure right now on Michael Saylor to have that level of transparency in terms of the Bitcoin that they hold on balance sheet. Now, the other one that caught my attention, Matt Siegel again was on the conference with us, or the panel, sorry, down in Fort Lauderdale, talking about OGE, the $9 billion Oklahoma utility company. They flagged in their 2024 report, Bitcoin miners were a large driver, number one, and number two, the Q1 commercial demand they're seeing in 2025 here, up 28% for power. So further supporting our thesis, Anthony, that number one, the Bitcoin miners are in a position of power. And number two, this is a resource that's becoming more and more scarce. These megawatts are in demand. That demand is growing. And as of right now, they can't keep up on the generation side of things.
Yeah, and this demand will grow as we see more and more of the HPC deals come to fruition. We know there's a number of miners out there waiting to announce certain aspects of it. We know that Hut 8 have been highlighted as a potential contract they're going to be able to announce in the near future. CIFR Mining have indicated they'll have something by the end of the year. So a lot of these big deals still to be announced this year. And this obviously, we're seeing more from the HPC space in terms of power than we are from the Bitcoin mining space at the moment. So, yeah, I expect that commercial percentage probably to increase, quarter on quarter as we go forward.
Yeah, just great to see. And last but not least, another thing great to see, especially for you and I, is Miner Madness 3.0. We just finished up mailing out the 2.0 prizes, so look forward to that if you're in the top 5 there. But again, Anthony, you and I, first and second spot on the analyst board here, this time in the green compared to Q2. But again, a strong showing about a third of the way through the competition.
Yeah, I say early days, 2 months to go. So today, 1st of May, got to the end of June, but most of the miners, very much in a positive position. Even the people at the bottom of the competition are showing green at the moment. And towards the top end, some really, really good returns when you consider the competition's only been going 3 weeks. So it's early days yet, not blowing any trumpets. Still waiting for my prizes from the last competition because I did finish in the top 5 overall. So I'll wait by the door for the postman to start bringing some stuff to me. But look forward to the rest of this competition. I'm sure there'll be a few more trying to catch up there. That board's changing on a now by hour basis because when I looked at it before the podcast, it was in a different state than it was at the moment. So that just shows you, today the price action of miners, the volatility can change, minute by minute. And we've got a long way to go. We've got over 60 days to go to the end of the competition. So good luck to everyone that's entered. We'll keep you posted on leaderboard and the analyst leaderboard because I know you all like to see how we're doing. We talk a good talk. Can we actually choose the right stocks over the competition period? Time will tell.
Time will tell. I'm sorry to hear your package didn't show up, Anthony. I actually know the CEO of Power Mining Analysis, so I'll let him know that there was an issue with the competition there. Anyways, you guys, let us know how you're feeling in the market today. A great day for the miners, great day for Bitcoin. Do you think we're going to surpass that 100K milestone throughout the weekend here or during tomorrow's trading? Let us know below. Feel free to hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you back here tomorrow.